If you catch COVID in the coming days and weeks, a vaccine won't help you or your family. We see the light at the end of the tunnel. We are hopeful we are getting there because our scientists are working incredibly hard. But we need to do our part. We need to stay strong and hang in there a few more months. Maybe more than that, but we can see it coming.
Let's bring in infectious disease specialist, Dr. Brian Conway. Dr. Conway, thanks once again for joining us this afternoon to talk about this. So Canadians woke up to some positive news hearing about this vaccine and also hearing that it's 90% effective. I wanted to get your thoughts on that because depending on who you talk to, maybe 50% would be good, 60% better, 70%, but 90%, what do you make of that?
Well, this 90% figure comes from the fact that of the 94 individuals who were enrolled in the trial who developed COVID, 90% of them had received placebo rather than the active vaccine. This doesn't say that 90% of individuals developed an immune response or that 90% of people are protected, but it is very encouraging news. The study needs to continue until there are over 160 so-called endpoints, so individuals who develop an infection, so that we can be certain that statistically speaking, the vaccine is better than placebo. But this is certainly excellent preliminary news.
And how does it compare in terms of the efficacy to other vaccinations such as the flu?
Well, if it is truly 90% effective, this is really in the same order of magnitude, in the same ballpark as other vaccines that we are used to getting. So that would be good news. And the other neat thing is that this is an mRNA vaccine, one of the newer generations of vaccines that is thought to be more effective if it's technically feasible. So they seem to have made it technically feasible. Let's see if the end result of the trial confirms the preliminary results that are reported today.
And one of the things that I was reading is it's using a process or something involved that no other medical product has in it, lipid nanoparticles. And I don't want to get into the science of it because I don't understand that. But what about the other vaccines in late stage trials? And is it a similar approach, or do we know?
Well, this is one of the more innovative approaches. There's a lot of more standard approaches that are being looked at, and those are the ones that in preliminary results, phase 1, phase 2, it looks as if they produced responses in 50, 60, 70% of people. So that's where that comes from. But if these new generation vaccines that are not only based on RNA, but in a new way of making sure that the RNA is absorbed into the cells and does its job, that's part of this this lipid nanoparticle approach. It's really a way of making sure that the RNA that's going to start making the proteins to which the body's immune system are going to respond, that it does so more efficiently. So it's an efficient way of delivering the vaccine into the cells. So this is new science. It could be applicable.
It is new science, and it could be new logistics too. Let me ask you about that, because this is a vaccine, from what we understand, that has to be stored at minus 70 or 80 something degrees. So in terms of that storage, how difficult is that going to be in terms of the eventual rollout?
Well, it's clearly a technical issue. I mean, people were talking this morning of having stadiums full of fridges to be able, of the right temperature, freezers, to store the vaccine. It's a technical challenge, but if that's all we're left with doing, this is a generational pandemic that calls for generational answers.
Well, and I guess everybody would love to see a vaccine that, you get it once and you're set for life, but that doesn't sound like this is that vaccine.
Oh, no, we're nowhere near knowing that fact. People are talking about yearly, if not seasonal, administration. We don't know how long the immunity will last, and that's an answer that will come probably after the vaccine is more widely available.
Dr. Conway, thank you so much for joining us.
It's great to talk about good news for a change.